Welcome to my first video of Christmas 2022. Hi there, my name is Sandra and I'm the creator of DIYs at the Schwowin's Nest. Thanks for joining me today. For this project, I'm using some of these fence boards that were little scrap pieces. I cut them in half and then I created the angles on the top to make them look like picket fences. I'm using hot glue to put these together, and at first I thought I might have to use some screws or nails to help them stay together, but the hot glue is Gorilla Construction wood glue and they stuck together like the dickens. I made a mistake on one of the projects and had to use a chisel and a hammer to get it apart. So I definitely would recommend using some of the Gorilla Glue hot glue sticks if you ever find them. So I've got these three pieces glued together and now I'm going to create a little box in the front. The first thing I'm going to do is just put the bottom piece and I'm going to glue that to the very bottom of these three picket fences. So I'm just using again the hot glue. I'm going to put it together and then I'm going to add a couple of sides and a front. Now the front ends up being a little bit too low, but I was okay with that. It just looked a little rustic. If you're really fussy about things like that, then you could go ahead and do things a little differently. But I was happy with how these turned out. I made two of these little picket fence boxes along with all of the other projects. I did make two of each, and you'll see that at the end when I show you how I decorated them. I gave both of these little boxes 2 coats of white latex paint, just regular paint that you would use on your walls in your house. Then I used my Cricut Joy to cut out the word Merry, and in the other one, I'm going to do the word Joy. For this one, I added a few holly leaves, which also I cut out with my Cricut. And now I'm just going to take a brush and some black paint and just distress the edges a little bit all the way around, just to make it look a little bit more rustic. Once I was done with the edges, I just took my brush and whatever paint was left on it and dragged it across all of the surfaces in the same direction as the wood grain, just to give it even more of a distressed look. I think these little boxes are perfect to add a little bit of Christmas cheer into your home. You could use them just with a little bit of greenery or maybe some candles. I think they would look great on a counter or a hot cocoa bar with some hot chocolate packets, some tea, and maybe even some coffee pods. I'd like to take a quick moment to thank all of my current viewers and subscribers. I really love you guys and I truly appreciate each and every one of you. If you're new to my channel and you like what you see, I've got more for you coming up soon. So hit that red subscribe button so you don't miss out. Next, I used some deck boards. They're much wider and much thicker than the fence boards, so I decided to make some houses out of these. I cut the angle at the top, and then I found 2 other little pieces of scrap wood that I measured to fit to make a roof. I also cut those on an angle so you'd see that little angle piece on the end of the roof towards the bottom. These do stand up on their own, but I decided to add a base to them because probably what I'm going to do when I get home and I have more access to all of my Christmas craft supplies, I'll probably add a few little more things down at the bottom, maybe some greenery and some berries. But for now, I'm just going to leave them a little bit more plain. I'm going to do the body of the house in white, and then I'm going to do the base in black and the roof in a pioneer red. It's sort of a rustic red color. It's not a true Christmas red, but I think for these pieces, it turns out perfect. For this house, I found a pre-made graphic on Cricut Design Space, and I cut it out with my Cricut Joy, and now I'm just going to weed out all the pieces. I use transfer tape that I get from the dollar stores. It works just as good, if not better, than the Cricut or the name brand transfer tape. And I really like using it. It's super cheap. And because it has a good amount of sticky, not too much, I can use it over and over again. So I will probably use this same piece of transfer tape about 3 times today. I'm going to take some of this ribbon, which is burlap, and it has a bit of a black thread through it. I thought this would be a really nice embellishment on this house. I'm just going to glue it right down at the bottom to cover up any of my painting mistakes. I also did a Cricut design on this one, and I just used one of their pre-imaged Christmas trees, but I took a star and the words Merry Christmas and I sliced them out, and that created a stenciled look. On this house, I decided to use some regular jute twine. I wrapped it around the bottom portion of the sign about 4 or 5 times, making sure that it was nice and flat and they were all stacked on top of each other. Now I've moved up about a good 3/4 of an inch or so, and I'm going to do the same thing, just wrap it around. Now I'm going to add some black and white gingham to the center portion in between the jute twine and then make a really cute bow and put that right in the center as well. If you've been following my channel for a while, you know I'm not really a bow fan, but lately I've been liking how they look, especially when you make them with gingham ribbon. I'm still not a fan of really big bows and ribbons and things, so you won't see me make too much of that, but I really love how this one turned out. Since I learned how to make a two-fingered bow, I am obsessed with them. They are really super easy to do, and for this one, I'm going to make it a 3-loop bow instead of a 2-loop bow. And if you're interested in learning how to make a two-finger bow like this, I will have a tutorial linked down in my description box, so you can go check that out, and it'll be a step-by-step tutorial of how to make this. For the final touch, I'm going to add this little sparkly white styrofoam ball. It just came off of a garland and I think it adds the perfect finishing touch. For these, I decided to make some larger tags. So I just took the deck boards and I cut off some angles at the top and then glued them onto a base, painted the tag white and the base black. I'm now taking some designs from Cricut Design Space. This one I actually created myself, so I'll definitely have that available for you as a free printable on my website. To decorate this tag, I'm going to put 2 rows of this red and white gingham ribbon on, and then I'm going to use some pip berries that I pulled off of a garland. They are a brown stem, and I thought that would really blend in with my theme for today with all of these rustic projects. On the second tag, I've got this design. Again, this one will be available as a free printable on my website. That link is down in my description box. I used the gingham ribbon again and glued it onto the sign. What I'm going to do now is add a smaller piece and make that one stand up and down and have them joined together in the corner. So this looks more like a gift. I'm making another two-fingered bow to put right in the corner. Then I added another one of those sweet little styrofoam balls that I have from the garland, and this project is done too. Here's a look at how all 4 of these pieces turned out. I'm really happy with what embellishments I put on them. I think it's just enough for a simple rustic holiday theme. My final wood pieces today are a couple of cutting boards. I cut this one out of a deck board and I sanded everything down. You can see all the really nice lines and some cracks, and I think these are going to make beautiful boards to display for the holidays. I did a couple of different styles. This one is a shorter one and it has sort of a concave kind of handle. The other one is really long and it has more of a rounded handle. This is the taller board with the more rounded handle. And for this one, I'm putting on a Christmas tree and Merry and Bright, again, using my Cricut Joy. And I will have as many of these available as free printables for you. I'm using red and white gingham ribbon again, but this one's a little different. It's a little narrower and the pattern's a little larger. This one comes from the Dollar Tree. Every once in a while, I get lucky and I find the ribbon that I'm looking for at the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to wrap this around a couple of times on the bottom and on the top. And then after I was done, or at least I thought I was done, I just found that it needed a little bit of something extra. So I decided to paint the portion that was white underneath this ribbon right here black. And I really think that upped the look of this piece, and I think it's really, really pretty. I also added a triple loop bow to the top of this one and added one of those little foam balls from the vines as well. Since painting the bottom portion of this board black was an afterthought, I already had the ribbon glued on. So I used a piece of masking tape to completely cover the ribbon so I wouldn't schmutz on it. But I also left a little bit of a white stripe in between the ribbon and the black paint. With the second board, I decided to take the jute twine again, just tie it in a knot in the back and then wrap it around a whole bunch of times to just make it look really nice and full. I love these white pip berries in this garland, so I decided to incorporate that into this board. I thought it would go really well since the pip berry vine is brown. I'm just going to fold some of them and tuck them right underneath the twine, and then I just used a little bit of hot glue to hold them in place. I didn't like them hanging straight down, so I did give them a little bit of a curl just using my Cricut weeding tool, and that just helped to make it a little bit more festive. To embellish this one a little bit more, I made a 3-loop bow using the 2-finger method, just using some of this black and white gingham ribbon from Dollar Tree. I also added a little sponge ball to the center of the bow. The final touch for this one was adding a little bit of that burlap with the black threading through it to the bottom, and this one is finished. I really love how these boards turned out. I hope you enjoyed this video and it wasn't too early to start my Christmas DIYs. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up because that really gets me noticed more on YouTube and helps my channel grow. Don't forget about the notification bell so you don't miss out on anything else I have to share. Bye for now.